When I was a kid, I went to my older cousin's wedding and just fell in love with the night. She had this huge Cinderella gown and this lavish banquet hall, and her cake was just this tower of different kinds of frosting and flavors. But I'll never forget, next to it was this giant swan carved out of ice. And at the time, when I was 5, I thought, this is what I want my dream wedding to be. Well, as we get older, practicality sort of sets in, and by the time it was my turn to be a bride, I was much more interested in getting a down payment for my house than this extravagant wedding. But I didn't want to give up the dream entirely. So today, I'm going to teach you how to plan your dream wedding, or any kind of event, really. It applies to many events, on a budget. So for me, my budget was $4,000. The first thing that I can tell you is identify what your must-have is. What is it that you're not willing to budge on? What won't you compromise to have your dream wedding? For me, and luckily for my husband as well, we both wanted to have a wedding on the beach. So on $4,000, it's kind of hard to do in Arizona. We pretty much had to decide that our budget was going to go towards travel. So, okay, it works. We picked our favorite city, St. Augustine, Florida. This is where we decided to get married. The tickets were $1,000, and we did find a venue that was right on the beach. It was a historic hotel. And the only thing was, in order to have the wedding on the beach and then have the reception inside, we had to use their caterer, which brought us up to $2,200. So if you combine those two together, that's $3,200. And what was my budget again?
4,000.
So you're probably wondering, I just started the speech, how am I going to have the rest of the wedding on $800? That brings me to my next point, which is get very resourceful very quickly. And it doesn't matter because I already have my must-have taken care of. So I love to sew, and I like to design clothes, so I made my own dress, and I also made the dress of my stepdaughter, who also walked down the aisle. The material was $100 for both dresses. My husband's best friend is a DJ, so he DJ'd their reception. This lady right here is actually my husband's sister, and she married us, so we didn't have to pay for those services. And we really just had to get resourceful and bring in everybody's help to make it happen, and it did. The third piece of advice that I have for you in planning your wedding on a budget is to, when you have to take out the wallet, make the dollars stretch and find creative ways of doing that. For me, I really wanted to have flowers. I know that it's not a necessity and I could have gotten married without them, but they can get very expensive very quickly. In fact, if you do research to have an arbor of flowers for a beach wedding such as this, that could have been my whole budget right there. So I talked to some local florists and I got a quote for my bouquet and then for Angel's bouquet. And I asked her if I could just buy cut flowers from her supplier directly to do the rest. And luckily, we were able to do that. So literally, on the plane ride over to the wedding, I drew a picture of exactly what you see right here. This is what I wanted my wedding to look like. I picked up the box of raw cut flowers and I gave them to my family and I said, make this. And they did, and actually they did an excellent job. It looked exactly how I envisioned it. So flowers, all of that was $250. I'm now up to $35.50, so we're getting close. And I took the same approach of showing them what I wanted, and they really put everything together for relatively no cost. So these are just some pictures of our wedding, the centerpieces and the tables. Actually, at the very end, we had money left over, so we decided to splurge on a really nice cake. This cake was special because the seashells that you see there are gourmet chocolates that a local chocolatier hand paints to look like real seashells. So it was kind of the highlight of our day. That was $300. So our balance was $38.50. We were able to do this because we decided up front what we wanted, what our must-haves were, and didn't look at anything else. Don't go to any wedding expos or anything like that. The second thing we did is we got very resourceful and used the resources that were available to us with our family and friends. And last, we found creative ways of stretching the dollar to stay within that budget. So I hope that when you do decide to plan a wedding, either for yourself or a family member, you can follow these 3 guidelines and have stay within a budget of your own, and still make it that dream wedding that you had thought about for so many years, the way I did. Thank you.